Welcome everyone, and I hope everyone is waiting excitedly as we are for the BESA program batch 10. So excited to be here with all of you, and we will be discussing lots of stuff as we get started. As a couple of minutes for people who are joining in, let's start with our icebreaker question here about what did you learn this particular year. BESA is all about learning in different formats, so we wanted to check with you that what you did this year in terms of learning. My name is Ashish, and I would be presenting this session with along with other Amazonians as we move forward. But as a icebreaker question, let me know what did you learn so far this year. I'll talk about myself also while you are talking about yourself in the chat. I learned a lot of stuff this time, lots of agentic AI related stuff. New things came in Amazon Bedrock, so I learned about that. And I also took a little tangent and learned a lot about NVIDIA certifications also. So that was my journey in learning in so far into this 6 months or so. And let's see what other people's are talking about what they learned. Now I may look into a different direction because I have a second monitor this side where I'm checking the chat. So just forgive me when I'm looking not at your side, but on the other monitor side. So what did you learn? You have AI agents and event-driven architecture, AI roadmap, bit of Claude code. That's good. AI governance, Claude skills. So you could see lots and lots of things related to agentic AI on AWS, learning about AIF, agentic security, CISSP. Wow, really, really great. So yeah, I could see that there are a lot of learners who are looking forward to learn new thing, and that's why we have this program. I'll quickly walk you through the logistics of it, and I'll add more people on the screen as we move forward. Let me quickly get started with what we are going to discuss into this particular program. So this is a simple agenda we have put together. We'll talk a little bit on the program introduction side, and let me add Prasad also on the screen so that we can discuss about few stuff. Hey Prasad, good to have you here.
Hello, everyone.
Right. So we will be discussing lots and lots of stuff as we move forward, and then we would be discussing about technical topic. We'll obviously let you know who is all supporting you today. We will also talk about the keynote which Prasad would handle with Matt Wood. We'll discuss more on that, and we will be doing a workshop walkthrough. So it's a jam-packed agenda for the whole 2 hour. We'll be discussing lots of stuff, technical, behavioral, hands-on, and whatnot. And we will be answering questions. So keep your questions coming in the chat. We would be answering as many questions as we can. There are moderators who are helping us out, and we will be addressing other question in case we could not address it while we are in the live session. We have packed agenda, so let me get started and discuss about how you can get best out of it. So Prasad, probably you want to talk about what we did into BESA pre-launch video. This is a YouTube video which we recorded and it is live in our channel. It was published on 19th August, but we have covered a lot of stuff there.
Yes, and I'm going to paste the link here in the chat so that everyone can access it. Uh, Give me one moment. But this is the video that you should all be watching in case if you have registered after this pre-launch. We did the pre-launch. We did it in 4 days ago. And we have covered the full logistics for the half an hour. We explained each and everything that how the entire cohort for the 6 weeks would be running, how you would be getting the access to the workshop every week, how you can get the badges, how you can do the knowledge checks. Each and everything is covered in detail in this video, and we have taken an open Q&A after that. So please take time to watch this video after the live stream today in case if you have any questions. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the most important part because there are so many things happening and we don't want you to miss any of them. So if you watch this video, you would know where you should focus on, what resources are available, how to use it. So this is a mandatory video before you ask any question in our channel about anything. Please watch this and then only ask question if this still get unanswered. We'll quickly walk you through that what the BESA program is because a lot of you may be new here. So we started this program as a pure volunteer effort from Amazonian. We started in 2022. Prasad, me, and few other volunteers joined hand, and then we started delivering batches. Initially, it was 12 weeks, and then we started focusing on 6 to 12 weeks of curriculum. We had 23,000 members now, 25,000 hopefully by now, and same 25,000 subscribers on YouTube. We help people in understanding AWS and agentic AI and whatever is the hot topic in the market as of now. We have 1,000 plus members who have succeeded in onboarding on getting the certification on AWS, 100 plus members who are mentored one to one also, and we have a lot of people who have succeeded successfully got job. We are only publishing here number of people who are in AWS or in other companies, Microsoft, but all other companies, there are thousands plus people who have said that they got support in their job hunt because of BESA. So really proud to be on this kind of platform and sharing our knowledge with you. I'll quickly move on. I'll talk about what we have covered so far. So in last batches, we have covered these topics. I'll not read everything, but this is a list which you should go into. Let's say you are starting and you do not know networking, or you are not clear on serverless, or you do not know about cloud computing. So this go through this playlist. These are all videos in live format, which we recorded on put on YouTube. So you should be able to go through these and get the most out of whatever learning we have done so far. Small videos or long videos, you can consume it at your own time. So please watch these videos, which are available on BESA YouTube channel. There are specific playlists for every batch, so it should be easy for you to find those particular things. And talking now about what we are going to cover in this particular batch, that is batch number 10. So obviously agentic AI has gone leaps and bounds, and lots of companies are using it or looking forward to it. So skills of agentic AI is becoming hot cake. And that's why we thought, why don't we take agentic AI to the next level? So in last batch, we covered about fundamentals of agentic AI. And if you look at the technical track topic, this time we are focusing on agentic AI POC to production on AWS. So you build an agent, you created the small code, but you cannot like take it to production and have thousands of users or millions of users accessing that application. So what it takes to go from zero or POC up to production, we will cover that. And that would be covered in every week. So we'll start with the basic fundamental to set the level. Then we'll go on of different topics. So I'll not read the list, but this is what the agenda is. And if I talk about behavioral track, we are having a lot of customer discussion as an essay. That is the main topic of it. Prasad, you want to talk a little bit on the behavioral topic?
Yes. So one of the USP of BESA program is that we cover both technical track and the behavioral track in all the cohorts. Because being a solutions architect, you need to have the technical depth, but also the consulting skills, the behavioral skills. That how do have a conversation with customers. So that's what we are going to cover in detail in this particular cohort. Today, in the behavioral track, we will be having a fireside chat with Matt Wood, who is the Chief AI and Technology Officer at AWS. But from the subsequent batches, we would be covering quite in detail about how you would be leading a customer discussion as an SA. We will teach you of the facilitation skills. How would you, conduct a workshop? How are you going to do a whiteboarding and all of that? Again, not reading the list entirely here because of the time, but you do have access to this agenda. Go through it, and we have covered it in detail in the pre-live session Q&A. So go and watch that video if you haven't.
Yeah. And essay is not just about technical skill, and that's why we wanted to focus on both. And then another thing which is required is hands-on, right? And that's what we are trying to cover. So if I talk about session details, in a 2 hour session, for the first 60 minutes, we'll talk about agentic AI POC on to production. That is the technical track, as we call it. So 60 minutes, you would be seeing a role play of a customer and AWS consultant, that how they navigate through the technical details, how they present the solution, how they talk, how they question. That's what we'll be doing through a role play in a technical track. Afterward, that would behavioral track for 30 minutes, leading customer discussion as an essay. That's what we will be focusing on. And then comes workshop walkthrough. So the last 30 minutes will help you in understanding that what are the logistics related to AWS workshop which you would be handling or you would be doing in. So 30 minutes is not like the time given to you for completing the workshop, but it is giving you a walkthrough that where to go, what resources are available, how to log in, how to register, all those type of stuff. So we'll be doing that. And then we would be giving you 24 hours to complete the workshop. I know this time we had to make some changes on having only official email addresses or business email addresses approved for workshop. That is a hard limit. We cannot navigate around it. So you would have access to workshop for a 24-hour window. I'll talk a little bit more on the workshop flow in a minute. But idea is that you would have 24 hours after the session complete to complete your workshop and get hands-on experience. So we will be discussing more on it, and the walkthrough will give you more details associated with. So clarifying here that 30 minutes what we are keeping is for workshop walkthrough. Afterwards, you get 24 hours to complete that workshop within that time frame. So block your time for the weekend where you can complete this particular workshop. All right. Prasad, you want to add something here before I talk about
All
workshop
good.
flow?
Let's go through the workflow. Let's go through the workflow.
Great. So talking about workshop flow, that how this thing would be working. So first thing is that for every week we would be having a email going out which is about registration. For every week you have to register yourself. It's not like you registered for week one, which entitles you for all the week. Answer is no. You have to register for each week. Why we are doing it? Because people may not have availability in every week or they are busy, and we don't want to waste the resources which get provision for you. So you have to register every week on Thursday, 10 p.m., 10 a.m. We will be sending out an email, and you would have 48 hours to register. You have to use your business email address, no workaround associated with it. And once you have that, we will close the registration form at 10 a.m. GMT Saturday. So if you look here, you have 48 hours to register yourself. Watch out for that email. Put a notification, put a rule on your Outlook so that it automatically helps you in identifying that email. And based on that, you register for every week's workshop. We will be providing workshop only for people who register. If you fail to register then within this window, we may not be able to provision workshop for you. And we made an exception this time for the first week. We know that this happened, like a lot of people joined in very recently. So what we are going to do, we are trying to keep this workshop registration form open for another 30 minutes or so. So that in case you want, you can still register for the workshop. Am I right, Prasad, here? You want to add
We'll
something?
close in 15 minutes. I've sent the link on the
15.
chat. We are closing in 15 minutes. And why we need to close it is because we know the exact number of resources we need to provision. So we already started provisioning the accounts. In another 15 minutes, if you have not registered, we'll be closing it. But from the next week onwards, the registration will close at 10 a.m. GMT Saturday. This time, the exception is because we understand there are a lot of last minute registrations happening and there's a confusion. Let's continue.
Great. And then workshop access code would be shared on Discord channel. So by the end of the workshop or during the live session as we are, we would share that access code. It would be on the Discord channel. Probably
Yeah.
you already have part of Discord. So in that you would be getting the access code, which would be unique. You would be able to do that using that. And we will talk more about workshop logistics as we move forward. As I said before, you would have 24 hours to complete your workshop. And once you log in into the system, your count starts and you would have 4 hours to complete that. All the workshop we are trying to do finishes within 2 to 3 hours. But yeah, in case something needs to be extended, we'll take care of it from back end. But consider this 24 and 4 hour window time slot for workshop registrations. Okay, talking about how you can showcase the skills you have learned. So that we have badges. So we have will be having badges for every week. That is called knowledge check badges, and that will be given to people who complete the quiz. I'm repeating it again here. So badges are associated with quiz, which are part of technical track. So whatever we will discuss in technical track, we would have 15 questions from that, put it as a quiz, as a knowledge check. And once you complete it, you would earn a badge. So for every badge, you have to complete the knowledge check, which is based on technical track. Even if you are not able to do workshop, still fine. You would still be able to earn your badges. So badges are linked to technical track, but they are not linked to workshops. So do not worry, even if you are not able to do the workshop. And I was seeing some question that how I can do something if I am not having access to business email. So we'll talk about that into workshop track when we explain it in the last 30 minutes. So stay tuned. And all these are recorded, so you would be able to revisit those specific topics. Should not be a problem. In case you missed to listen to few things, you can always come back and listen to it. Should not be an issue. And if somebody complete all 6 badges, they would automatically get an participation certification that hey, this person completed 6 badges and is now appreciation certificate for agentic AI PhD to production. So this is an automated process. Once you complete 6 badges, you would automatically get this particular certificate to get started with. All right, good. Anything else, Prasad, I should be covering here?
No, all good. Let's go ahead and quickly
Good,
introduce the volunteers. Get started.
great. So yeah, that's true. So we obviously could not run program of this scale without help of volunteers. So let me introduce volunteers who are helping us out. And this is extremely a volunteer effort. So I would thank all the people who are helping us in these type of things, like doing time on the weekend. So we have Parna here, then we are adding Kanti also on the stage, then we have Raj who is helping us out, then we have Ravali who is there, then we have Laura, and then we have again I'm not seeing your name, Kanti. Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, that's good. So these are all volunteers who are helping us out, and these are all Amazonians. So feel free to ask questions in the chat. We would be able to help you out on these things. So we are all here to help you out, but yeah, be a little respectful in the time we are devoting. Please don't ask the same question again and again. It becomes really complicated. I'll take 1 minute here from everyone. Like if you could introduce what you do on AWS for a minute, Prasad, it should be great. I'll talk about myself. I'm Ashish. I work as a customer solutions manager and I take care of AWS partners. I'm working in AWS from 8 years. Prasad, over to you, and then we'll quickly go one by one.
Principal solutions architect at AWS, been with AWS for 7 years, focus on migration and modernization.
Parna?
Hi everyone, I'm Parna Mehta and I'm a AI Ops engineer plus cloud support engineer. So I help to triage and troubleshoot and maintain AI agents. Yeah, that's my day job. And by the other timings, I'm here.
That's good. That's good. Good to have you here. Ravali?
Hey, hi everyone. Good morning or good evening, wherever you are. I'm Ravali, a technical account manager working for AWS in 7 years. Yeah, I'm a customer facing to help customers wherever I can. Thank you.
Okay. Over to Raj.
Hello, everyone. Raj Menon. I'm a principal customer solutions manager. Been with AWS for a little over 6 years. I work with security ISV customers.
Great. Kanti?
Hey everyone, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Nice to have you all here. I'm Kanti Velumuri, Technical Account Manager here at AWS, focused on helping customers with cost opt and resiliency and all those nice things, focused on advertising and marketing customers.
That's great to have you. Laura?
Yes. Hi, everyone. Laura Smith, Senior Technical Account Manager. I was actually one of the BISA Batch 1 participants for joining AWS. Me too, I support enterprise support customers in the FSI fintech space. Really excited to support you all this week.
All right. Over to you. Thank you. Go ahead.
Krishna?
Sure. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey,
Sorry.
everyone. I'm Krishna, and I've been with AWS a little over 3 years. I'm a solutions architect in the social good technology team. Excited to be here, and good luck to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Nisha, you are here.
Hi everyone. Sorry, I have internet challenges, so not on the video, but happy to be here. Just like last batch, Nisha Diktawala, I've been with AWS for over 4.5 years, and I'm part of the partner core tech team. We help progress partners and customers progress through their journey and all the validations. Happy to
That's
support.
so great. Thank you so much. And as you could see that volunteers are growing and they are coming from various fields. So put your questions in the chat. We would be answering as many as we can. And here people are from different streams: solutions architect and customer solutions manager, technical account managers, security people. So you would be able to get lots of answer from it, provided you ask the right question. So thanks everyone. I'll now move on to the technical topic. And please quickly answer questions in the chat. Please ask questions in the chat. Sorry, I'm struggling here with the words, but let's quickly get started with the technical track. Technical track is we will be doing a role play between me and Parna. Parna would be a curious customer who wants to understand about AWS and agentic AI, and then we would lead the discussion associated with it and understand and help you understand that how we actually lead customer discussion or how we explain technical topic to customers. So that's all we are going to go through this year. And let me quickly talk about anatomy of an agent. That is the topic we are going to discuss. So I'll brief you about what is this topic of anatomy of an agent. We wanted to ensure that everyone understands the basics of agentic AI. There are so many complicated words being utilized and over that people feel confused. So we wanted to set a stage, ensure that you have the understanding of the terminologies we want to use for the whole 6 weeks. So that's why I focus on very basic understanding of agent, and then we'll keep on moving forward with explaining more complicated topic. And let's welcome Parna. Welcome Parna. You are a customer of AWS. I can help you in understanding some of the questions you may have. I may not have every answer, but I'll try my best to explain you some of the questions you may have. So let's get started with our one-to-one chat.
Hey, thank you so much, Ashish, for coming back again to help us guide our organization with our AI pathways. So we've dabbled a lot with different models and tried out Bedrock and SageMaker, but everything is coming down to AI agents now, right? So I need help from you to make us understand, make me and my team understand the basics of AI agents. You can start with
Mhm.
the foundational concepts so that everything is really clear to us before we start on this journey.
Happy to help. And I also, as I always say, that technology is not coming from Mars or space. It is always coming from the thing we see around. And same applies to agents also. Now, I'll take 1 minute here, pause, Parna. I want to also congratulate and then thank volunteers who are supporting as external volunteers. We could not get you all on the stage, but we really appreciate the efforts you are putting in helping the community. So we have 50 plus people who are volunteering as external volunteers of BESA, who are not in Amazonian, but still they are devoting their time, energy, and effort. So really appreciate, and I hope that we could bring you on stage one day and let the world know that who are supporting behind the scene to everyone. So coming back to your question, Parna, agent. As I said, that agent is not something very new. Probably you have already heard about agent, and if I go into little etymology of words, agent comes from the Latin word called agere, which means to do, to drive, to lead, or act. Means basically related to action. Somebody who's doing some kind of action, and that was the same thing applies in the real world also. So if I talk about an agent, probably you have seen that we have an insurance agent, we have a support agent, we have a real estate agent, we have a travel agent. So they are acting on behalf of someone, right? So travel agent is helping you with your booking. Customer support agent is helping you with your customer support related issues, banking related issues. So they are behaving like on behalf of an organization and helping you with your day-to-day work. And exactly same thing applies in the agents also into AWS world or any other technological world also. But I prefer to explain things to analogies. So let me use the agent word, which is coming from movies. I'm a movie fan, so I always try to take example from movies. Probably these are some of the agents you already know about. Agent 007007 coming from Bond, then Matrix Agent Smith, Agent 47 from Hitman, and Agent Dominica from Red Sparrow. Probably you all know that. Now, let me know what you think are the common thing about these people. What do you think, Parna, is common about these agents? Very, very basic understanding if you have. What do you think is common about these all agents? Obviously, they are all good looking than me. I can say that. What else? What else?
I think they are like one man show or one woman show.
Exactly.
They can handle everything on their own. They don't really need an army of
Yeah.
sidekicks to help them.
Exactly. So they are very, very self-sufficient in a way. But again, they can operate independently. But if they have to go through execute a bigger mission, probably they would be needing help from some firm, right? So we will talk about that. So now I come back to AI agent kind of thing. So they are executors of order. Let somebody is saying exactly. So AI agent is a software system that act on behalf of a user or organization by using AI to make decision and perform tasks. So it is still an agent which is going to perform some tasks rather than just answering question. Answering question can be one of the tasks, but it can do something else. Hey, book me a reservation for this particular place, or order food for me, or order the remaining medicines which are not there in the stock. So those kind of thing it can do, and it will require a model behind the scene. So model is the brain, and agents are the
So,
hands. So
Ashish,
if you
sorry,
have
I'm interrupting. You spoke about model. Now the models are becoming so advanced, right? Now every week we are hearing about different models by different vendors. Isn't the model smart enough to do everything on its own? Why do I need this agent? Where does this come into the picture? Model should be smart
makes
enough,
sense.
right?
Yeah, models are smart enough, but let's say if I just think that I have to drink water, that is my brain thinking, right? But unless I have a hand who can pick up a bottle, open it, and do this action, I cannot drink water. So I cannot just think about water drinking and it happens automatically. I would need hands, and that's what agent take into.
Okay,
So models give you intelligence, like it gives you planning capabilities, it gives you reasoning capabilities. But when it comes to taking action, like hey, you want your agent to go and book something for your kids, or you want to reserve a ride, that is where you would be needing some connection to the real world rather than just brain, and that's where agents come into picture, right? So if I
got it.
give you example, Parna, that would be like you have customer support agent, like you go to Amazon.com and your order is delayed, or you want a refund, or you want to repeat the order, you could talk to agent and they can deliver those things. Same thing for travel booking, research agents, financial analysis agent, they can all help you on those kind of stuff. So basically, they are helping you in doing some task. They have their brain, which is coming from LLM, which we call large language model, and the hand, which is required to complete something, that is coming from agents. When they both work together, then you achieve the task. Single is, yes, that is possible, but they both work together to give you the best possible outcome for you. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Yes, definitely makes sense. So I was just thinking, like, obviously, you can explain further with your analogies, and that will make things clearer for me and my team. But AI agent, but then there is agentic AI also. Now, what's that, and what's the difference?
Yeah, so these words are repeatedly being used and they are so used interchangeably that people get confused. I'll try my best to explain it. So let me first talk about a simple analogy of an agent. And I am a Bond fan, probably the not the newer one, not Daniel Craig, but I still like Pierce Brosnan as a Bond. So I'll talk a little bit on a comparison of Agent 007 with AI agent. If I talk about an normal agent or a spy agent, what they do, they receive a stack or a mission from MI6, and then they assess the threat, they plan an action, they act autonomously, they do not need a lot of hand holding, they adapt to the changing situation, and then they save the day by precision and skill. That's what exactly what an AI agent is going to do. If I compare a one-to-one thing here, AI agent will be also given a goal, and that goal can be coming from user request or can be coming from another agent. Once they have that goal, they analyze the context, they understand the data, they understand the environment they are operating in, and they generate a plan to act on it. They do not just jump and finish the work, they plan what needs to be done, and afterward they execute those tasks based on the plan generated. Then they replan if something goes wrong or something is not working as expected, and at the end they deliver the outcome which was given to them as a goal. So there is a goal, they create a plan, they work on it. If the plan changes, they adjust themselves and they keep moving forward. That's how an agent works. Now, hope this explains the agent concept. Let's now talk about agentic AI. Right. So, what is agentic AI? If we have a complete system that can enable AI agent to autonomously achieve goals through planning, reasoning, memory, tool usage, and adaptive decision making. That is what we call agentic AI. So, agent is one building block. When we use that building block and create something out of it, like a structure or maybe a program or a system, that is what we refer as an agentic AI. So, uses it's one or more agent that is powered by AI model to autonomously achieve goals. Like, let's say you have to book a 3 day trip to Barcelona. What you would need in that case, you would need somebody agent, an agent who would book your flights, another agent who would book your hotel, another agent who would book your rides or activities you plan to do in Barcelona, another maybe taking care of weather, another maybe taking care of your currency conversion. So we are working together as a system to achieve a goal. That's what agentic AI is. And I'll give you an analogy so that you can understand it a little bit better. But you would see that you may have autonomous customer support platform. Like Amazon is a good example. If I have an issue with my order, I can go and type something in the agent, and agent can take care of resolving that issue for me. Maybe your research assistant, your IT operations agent, AI travel planning platform. These are all running by agentic AI. All right. So I hope these two siloed information is clear. What is an agent? What is an agentic AI? But I'll again use an analogy so that you should be able to understand these things in a little bit more proper manner. All right, everyone. I hope everyone is following along us, and like as a understanding of it. If you are all following along, please give me a +1 in the chat and we'll keep on continuing this discussion. This helps us in understanding also that you are following along. So please give a +1 in the chat so that we would know that you are following along. All right, I'll continue. So I use another example here from Marvel Universe. I probably you all are waiting for the new Marvel movie which is going to come. So AI agent is a single entity. Let's say Iron Man. Iron Man capable enough person, it has a role in the whole team, it has its own capabilities, and it can make decision with responsibility on his own. But if there is a problem which is bigger than what Iron Man can alone handle, then what he needs Avengers. So Avengers is group of this agent who are capable in their own domain, but once we put together them as a team, they become like indispensable. They become like you cannot they become invincible. So that's what agentic AI is. So agentic AI is a complete system, whereas the agent is an individual entity. Analogy, as I say, agentic AI is an organization where multiple employees are working. Organization follow a process. They have a knowledge. They have tools to use. They can coordinate things. They can work toward a shared goal. Like Amazon's goal is to be the world's most customer obsessed company. Now, individually, we cannot achieve it, but when we work together, we fine tune our processes, we train people, we give them tools to perform the action, we coordinate efforts, then we can achieve something. And that exactly same applies into agentic AI as well. I hope that gives you some understanding on how AI agent and agentic AI are different, but they are having similar type of things so far.
Yeah, so Ashish, I understand that the agent does one task that it does really well, and I'm guessing agentic AI is an entire AI based solution. Now, what I
Exactly.
still have confusion over is like these days you can use leverage multiple models, or you can make use of multiple agents which are talking and coordinating with each other. Which bucket does that fall under?
So yeah, we would call it agentic AI itself, but let me give you a little bit more clarification on that on a technical term apart from the Marvel word. So if I talk about AI agent versus agentic AI, as I said, AI agent is a single entity, whereas agentic AI is a complete system. When I talk about AI agent, it may have a model at the back end as a brain, it may have a goal, it may be given tools, and it may be performing actions on that. On the other hand, there are in agentic AI, there are multiple models or multiple agents who are coordinating. There may be a supervisor agent depending on the design, and that supervisor may plan the whole course and then say, Agent 1, you will do this, Agent 2, you will do this, and so on. So that's how agentic AI is basically combination of the whole approach. If I again relate it to Marvel, if you know about Nick Fury, who is leading the Avengers initiative, he is basically planning and doing who would be doing what, who would go and perform a specific task. So he may also have guardrail, he may have to do orchestration, he may have to call a specific tool. That is what agentic AI is all about.
So,
So
so can I
multiple
say that
agent. Mhm.
agentic AI systems do not have a straight path? Dynamically, it will decide the path to take based on these planning as well as guardrails as well as which model to use. So it's predefined for a agent, but not for a agentic AI system. Is that so?
See, path can still, agent may still do its own planning, but only in that specific domain for now. So let's
Okay.
say if it is a travel agent, it will only know about travel. It may not know about currency conversion. It may not know about weather. But when I'm traveling to a place, I need to know about currency conversion. I need to know about weather. I need to book my travel also. So that is where agentic AI as a system would come into picture. Like when you are dealing with Amazon, you are not dealing with one single individual. It's a whole apparatus or a whole company you are dealing with, and everyone has their own processes. Like a support department may have a different process, whereas your marketing department may have a different process to follow. So that's what I prefer as an agentic AI
Got
system. Or if I give you further detail, so agent would still have their goals, whereas when we are coordinating agent, giving them memory, giving them tools, putting them into a workflow format, that is how they will be able to achieve a bigger business outcome rather than performing a task. Does it make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
And to continue that, you would obviously have an agent which is powered by one model, but in agentic AI, there may be multiple models. Maybe planning agent has a reasoning model behind the scene. On the other hand, there could be a currency conversion which has a maths model behind the scene. Another may be having an image generation which can create maps for you. So there can be multiple models present in that, and their focus of agent is on individual task, whereas agentic AI is about whole problem solving which we are trying to achieve, right? Plus, as I said before, AI agent is a building block, whereas agentic AI is a complete solution which you are building. And again, example I gave is, let's say we have a customer support agent, which is single agent, whereas you have customer support platform where are multiple agents which can redirect you to different places. It can use RAG, it has memory, it has guardrail, it has orchestration. So it helps you in understanding whole thing and achieving a business outcome by coordinating multiple agent and using multiple agentic AI models on that. So I hope that gives you some idea on how your agentic AI and AI agent are different, but they have similarities also.
Got it. Completely makes sense. Now, while we are deciding, like we for different business purposes, are there any scenarios or use cases where I should not go for agentic AI or AI agents? Are there any such reasoning that I can apply when deciding whether to go for it or not?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because like when you have a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. We don't want that,
Right.
right? So that's why there should be clarity on that when I should not be using an agent. That is also important rather than you thinking like every solved problem can be solved by agent. No, there are some things where your agent is a overkill, and we will talk a little bit on that also. So let me give you some example. So if a question is not that can an agent do this? Question is, it should an agent do this? So it's not like can agent can still do that, but should I use an agent for particular thing? So let me give you three specific scenarios explaining you how you should not be using agent in those particular cases. Let's say if you have a task which is fully definable by the rules, your very structured way of decision making. Let's say an example is, let's say I want to have an expense system which can give approval of anything less than 500 pound automatically, but anything beyond 500 pound need to go to manager. Now I do not need a agent here to decide it, because I have clearly defined rule here. Anything below 500 auto approval, anything beyond 500 should go to manager. So if I'm using agent here for a fully defined system, that's an overkill. So you should not be using agent there. Second is, latency is a primary constraint. Now, agent would be calling a model, they may be using a tool, they may be using a memory, so they may take little bit of time to come up to a discussion or come up to a decision. Now, simple thing, let's say if my machine heats up, I want to stop immediately. I don't need an agent for that. That's a very specific thing where I do not have anything like latency I don't want. So in those kind of situation where latency is a constraint, agent may think, they may rethink, they may observe, they may act, and that can take some time. So probably if you're looking for something to be responded in a single digit millisecond latency, probably agentic AI may not be the best solution in those particular cases. Hope you're following along, right?
Yes, definitely. So not every automation needs to be done by AI agents. I understand that.
Nope,
Now,
not at all.
I'm a little I just wanted to clarify, like, what if I need very deterministic answers, fixed answers, factual answers, and we know that AI agents driven by LLMs can be non-deterministic. We never know what
Yes.
the outcome can be. So in scenarios where we have to take critical decisions, we need to audit. Do you think it is uh, prudent enough to use AI agents there?
I would say no. I would say no in those particular cases. So if you are looking for full explainability which require out of the box, let me give an example here. Let's say you are using an agent who is approving people's loan application. Now, sometime it may take a decision which is right, sometime it may take decision which is wrong. We don't want to get into this. We don't want to be like discriminating between people when we are approving their agentic loan application. So somebody was asking deterministic and non-deterministic. So deterministic, like I'm using a vending machine, I press a number of 32, whatever is available on 32 will be given to me. That is deterministic. I'm taking a London Underground and I want to reach to a destination. There may be some delays, there may be some train cancellation. It is little non-deterministic of a task I'm doing it, right? So simply, like if you need lot of explainability, like how you came to a decision, like a loan application. So we could say we can approve or reject based on a predefined income and credit score rules. We do not need an agent to overthink here. It's a simple rule we have to follow. We could put into a workflow format and we should be done with it. We do not require a lot of complicated stuff to be done here. Are we good here?
Yeah, yeah, makes sense.
Good. So I hope
All
you are able to understand that what is agent, how it works, and what are the other things. But yeah, I'm happy to answer any follow-up questions you may have.
all right. So what I understand is it's not only the LLM which makes up an agent. There's an entire ecosystem of different components which constantly build on an LLM. So can you take me through all the components that make an agent?
Yeah. So yeah, you could think about like it's an agent is like a jigsaw puzzle where you have multiple pieces. When you put together, then you only see the right picture. Same thing happens with an agent, and that's why I wanted to take the topic of anatomy of an agent. Like if you dissect an agent, what you will find inside. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit on that. So now I am highlighting six things here, but it's not mean that does not mean that only six components are there. Depending on the type, depending on the configuration, you may use different component, but these are the most common thing. First thing, it is not a monolithic application, right? There are multiple systems which have different functionality. They're working together towards a specific job. So I divided that agent into six things. First thing I talk about is goals. When you have an agent, it should be given a goal, like what he or she has to achieve. Rather than that, they will not work. So we would have goals, and I'll explain them are all about. Plus, you would need a planning capabilities. They should be able to plan to what they need to do to achieve a goal. Then they would be needing memory so that they can retain what step they have already taken, what is remaining, what is the status of previous steps. So they need memory. They would be needing tools so that they can go ahead and talk to a system. Let's say make a reservation, maybe query a database, maybe fire up a API call. That's why they would need tools, and they would be needing action to be taken here. So tool is like, okay, I have an API as a tool. From that API, what action I have to do? Do I have to use a read API? Do I have to use a write API? That is what action comes into picture. And then there should be a feedback mechanism. If one step failed in the whole system, should I go ahead and reiterate everything, or should I go ahead and only reiterate that particular step which has failed? Depending on the situation, agent has to have that kind of feedback that can keep on moving forward towards the goal. So these are the six components which I think makes up a great agent. And sometimes you may find like you may combine goals and planning into one, or memory and tools into one type of thing. But yeah, I try to keep these six things separate, and I'll give you some examples so that you would be able to understand it better. Right? Are we clear so far?
Yes, all good.
So talking about a goal, very simple. Like we all have goals in life. So what should I achieve, right? Define the desired outcome. How the good, like what the outcome we are looking for, and then we talk about what our direction or decision making criteria should be. We are trying to drive the planning and action selection here. Example is we want to resolve a customer complaint. That is a goal. How I achieve to that, and for that we may have to go for planning. So second thing an agent would need would be planning. Planning is that how should I achieve it? Let's say you decided you want to achieve AWS certification. You need to plan for it, right? You need to plan that, okay, I will go through the exam topic, I'll go through this particular training, I will do hands-on, and then I will achieve the goal I'm looking for. Same way, agent have to break down that particular goal into multiple tasks. They would determine not what is the next best action to take. They will also adopt decision based on the context. Let's say certification is going to be updated next month, probably I should wait and then achieve the certification. So that is what I'm adapting or planning properly for that. Like investigator order status before issuing a refund. So order has been delivered or not. If it is delivered, probably we may not want to issue a refund. We may want to wait for the return of the item and then issue a refund, those type of things. Then it would require a tool, like could be API, could be going to a database, going to a search system, calculators, enterprises, application. That is all the tools you would be needing. And based on these tools, my agent would be taking the action, like firing up API call, performing a database search, maybe interacting with another system, like sending email or creating a ticket or updating a CRM or querying the database. So these are the actions I would be taking through my agent. What else? What I would also be needing is memory. So I don't want to talk to a person who cannot remember the context, right? So you ask me a question that what is your account number to help me out, and then in 10 minutes you again ask me the same question. So that's not there. We want memory which can keep the information, like it can maintain the context, store interaction which you have previously done, and retrieve that interaction if the need comes out to be. Like you are having short-term memory, you may have long-term memories also. Simple example, when you are checking into a hotel, you've been given a room number. Maybe it is a short-term memory. You would remember that room number of the hotel till you stay into that. Long-term memory would be like, okay, what is your date of birth, or what is your time you have to go through flight, those type of stuff, or which airline you prefer. That is your long-term memory. So agent would also have short-term and long-term memories. And then feedback, which is very important. So you tried something, did it work or not? Do we have to evaluate the outcome? We need to support the self-correction. We need to perform replanning if required. So if inventory is not there, maybe we need to find another source to get the inventory, like an example of it. So that's how you should be having a whole system of these six things together that would make an agent successful. Does it make sense?
Yeah. So I would like to know how do these features and capabilities actually coordinate and work along with each other? I understand that it's not just one that we need. They all interact with each other at certain stage of the inference, or when you're trying to get something out of the agent. Can you tell me how does that work?
Yeah. So it's what we refer as something called agent loop. So agent work into a loop, and I'll explain in a basic sense that how an agent work. We'll take some example also, and that's how we will understand this particular concept of agentic loop. So what an agent loop is, that every agent operates in a continuous loop. What they do, they observe. Agent gathers whatever information is available. Let's say it is a chat agent. So it would gather who is the customer, what they are asking, what is their details they have provided, have they provided order number. So it is gathering all the available information from that. And that observation can be coming from user messages. It could be coming from the tools which they have used before, maybe the retrieved document, or maybe the notification from the system. So these are just some examples of observation, like knowing what my environment is. Once they know what is available, then they perform reasoning. So reasoning is where they apply their brain, where the LLM becomes active. So AI model analyzes the available information and decide what to do next. Some examples could be, it may understand the user's request, like user is looking for canceling a specific request, or user is looking to get a checkbook issued for him or his or her bank account. So that is what examples are. And then it will determine the missing information. If something is missing, how it can identify that data, how it can get that data, and then it will select the next action which has to perform. So here the brain part comes into picture and decide whether the task has been completed or not. So that is called the reasoning phase of an agent. So we observe, we reason, we plan it in a way, and then we act on the plan we have created. So agent perform the choose an action, and that example could be calling a tool, or searching a knowledge base, maybe querying a database, or maybe responding to a user. So that is all what we call as an agent loop. But why we call it a loop? Because this whole process is repeated iteratively. So maybe in one iteration of observe, reason, and act, if he is not able to come to a decision, he would iterate with a loop. Let's say, take an example of a doctor. So a doctor may say that go and do this test because I am not able to understand what your problem is. So you go ahead and do that test. Then doctor would reason itself that okay, this person's hemoglobin is fine, its blood sugar is in control. What else could be a problem? Then he may say, okay, go ahead and do perform a different type of test. Out of that, that result will be again fed into the system, and then doctor may come to a decision point that what is happening. So that is what the loop is called. So this loop we have is a variable length. Maybe in some small tasks, agent would require only one loop to complete the whole task, but in some complicated tasks, it may go through multiple tasks, right? So multiple stages. So it can be variable length loop, as well as it would be self-terminating. Once it knows what is the problem, it would self-terminate. Let's say once doctor knows that okay, you are having this particular issue, no need to further test things, he would start the medicines for that required problem. So that's how agents are able to perform a loop of observe, reason, act, and that loop goes for variable length, and it is a self-terminating loop which is there. Does it make sense?
So, Ashish, I have a little bit of concern over here. Since this is a loop, how does it know when to stop? It could be infinite loop. Do I have any control on how many times it should loop? Because I see that there could be concerns in terms of latency. If it loops too many times, I don't want my customer or the end user to keep waiting until the agent finishes reasoning. When does it know it has to stop?
So yeah, so when the particular agent is performing a plan, that time we could provide it some instruction that hey, this is your guardrail, like you have to finish answering within that particular time frame, or this is how you should answer your question based on. So that is where you could put some instructions when the reasoning part happens on the LLM. That LLM, hey, you don't have to go to endless loop. LLM are smart enough nowadays. We don't need to give them too much instruction. But in case you want, you could instruct your LLM in a way that it is fine-tuned for performing things in an agentic loop. Does it make sense?
Got it. Yeah.
Got it. Let me give an example so that it would be easier for you to see that how this works. So we know the three stages, right? So we have agent gathers information, it performs reasoning, and then it acts on the request we have provided to it. So that's what happens, right? So loop one, let's say now I have a request coming in, a student is asking, and it has that agent to explain why their code is failing. So I have a specific code, I put it into a compiler or whatever interpreter I have, and that code is failing. Student has done what? Taken the code, taken the error and screenshot, and had provided to the model. So now what model would do? It will start observing. So what a model would do as a first step, it would get the code snippet which is there. It would get the error message which has been provided by the student. So this is what it is observing. What it would do now, it will go to the reasoning stage, and in that reasoning state, it will check, okay, looks like in this particular code, line 12 is where the problem is, and it will decide to verify the documentation. Maybe the code error number was for line 12, and it identified that is a function being used. Maybe that function got updated, or maybe that function is giving an error. So it can go into documentation. For going into documentation, it has to act, right? So it may have access to a tool through which it can call the documentation, or it can retrieve from a rack system, and then it can call the documentation tool. understand how that function defined, what are the required parameters, what are the specific configuration you have to provide, and then only it can move forward. So that is first loop. But in this first loop, it is not able to understand what the problem is. It is able to understand that this is the function causing the problem, and this is the documentation associated with that particular function. So what we do in this particular case, that we go through the loop. So whatever document we captured from this particular loop, that information would be going again to observation. Now agent has evidence, so it gathers the evidence, then verifies the evidence in the second loop. Okay, we have document. Let's compare what the documentation says. What is our function which is giving problem? So function signature information received. What it will do now? It will go through the loop again. Confirm function was changed in version 2.0, let's say, and it has enough information to answer, and then it will say, okay, it will write explanation to user that, hey, you are using an old function that got changed into version 2.0, and this is the correct action associated with it. So this is gathered right information, and now it will respond only after the confidence it has achieved. So when these models are working, they have their confidence scoring, that how confident they are about a specific answer they are providing. So that will be variable length. Let's say in this two loop it was not able to come to a conclusion, it may go through another loop, right? Maybe that function is calling a third party, so it can go to the third party documentation and get data from there, and again iterate it through the loop. That's how it should work. And once it knows that, hey, I got the sufficient information, I have the answer, then it will go ahead and do, okay, let me terminate this particular loop, because I am done with getting the answers I needed. Are we good on this?
Great. So I understood how the agent works and the agentic loop works and how to assemble the different components. Now that I've got all these together and my prototype is ready, how do I make it production ready? Because I still don't
Great question.
understand what else I need to do to make it production ready.
Makes sense. So yeah, exactly. So yeah, you may build an agent on your code or you're running on laptop, but you want to take it to production. So let me talk about that. What does an AI agent need before it can run in production? So let's talk a little bit on that. I'll quickly touch on the basic concepts which is required for any POC to production, what challenges we have. So when we are doing a POC, it is working in a few test users. But when we are talking about production, we need to have handling multiple concurrent users on that. Second is security. So in POCs, we do not worry much about the security. It is like limited access and tools we have. But when we are talking about production, we need to take care of authentication, authorization, all type of stuff as we move forward. Another challenge for POC to production is about reliability and quality. Another is about cost and efficiency, and about operations and environment improvement. So that is all the common thing which every specific POC to production scenario would have. But let me now talk about how this will manifest into an agentic AI world. Let's talk about that. All right. So what happens that when you are starting, this is what you may have built. So you have a user and you have an AI agent. Now, question you should be asking yourself that, can an AI agent generate intelligent response on its own? It cannot, right? What it would need, it would be needing an AI model for reasoning and context generation for planning purposes. So user is interacting with agent, that's what they see, but at the tip of the iceberg is agent, and beneath it is a LLM model. So that is my AI model which is there, right? Now, question comes, should I be sending requests to my model without having any governance on top of it? Whatever request comes to me, should I be just forwarding it to AI model? Answer comes no, that we may need to have safety and governance into the picture so we can protect our AI model and interaction. So what we may need for production, we may want to have safety and governance suite of that. So we still have model, but whatever we are sending all on agent from AI model to AI model, we are putting a safety and governance on that. But now question comes, can AI model independently complete business tasks? Answer for that is no. A model would need an agent for executing the task in the plan which is created. And for that, it would be requiring to run for maybe thousands of concurrent users. In those particular cases, what we would be needing, we would be needing an inference platform. Behind the scene, agent need to execute some code, and that code would require its platform capabilities like networking, maybe require connections, maybe require compute. And that's where we would need a platform where my agentic code can particular run. So this is what we would be needing for a model to perform or for an AI agent to function. Does it make sense for now so far?
Yeah, I get it. So by itself, the agent cannot really serve thousands of concurrent requests. It
Exactly.
needs to be built on top of a platform that can help it serve that, right? So we need another
Exactly.
layer beneath it as well. Okay,
Yeah, so
get
it's like you create, let's say you bake the cake, right? Now you want to serve to 10,000 customers. Maybe in home you cannot make it for 10,000 customers. You may go into a bakery and then you need a bakery and it's a oven and it's a cooling and icing and people. That's what we need an inference platform also. That is exactly what we are trying to do here. Then
And how
can
do
AI
I,
model run efficiently?
yeah, Ashish,
Mhm.
and how do I ensure that after, say, I've put it on the platform also, and I want to ensure that it is running accurately, reliably, and it won't break down suddenly? How do I do that? Is Do I need to add another layer to that as well?
Yeah, so inference platform gives you something like, say you got a bakery product or you got a bakery to bake your cake, but now you may need to optimize your own processes for it, right? So that's where your layer of inference optimization would come into picture. Like you will decide that what are the optimal ways to perform a specific task, how your model need to be optimized, how the code of your agent need to be optimized. Like you were saying, agent can go into endless loop, we don't want it, right? So that is where we can put a prompt and that can go ahead and say, okay, we want to reduce the problem which the agent may have, so we may want to optimize or improve its performance or maybe reduce the cost. So whatever the platform is, we may want to run it efficiently, and that's where we call it, we need to have an inference optimization layer at the bottom of it. Does it make sense?
Okay. Yes, and I'm guessing inference optimization will take care of high availability and disaster recovery and all that.
Yeah. No, I would put it a little differently. It should be the platform partner who would take care of this high availability and all. Optimization is like, consider like when you travel. So and when you travel, you carry small things with you. You do not carry like the whole big keyboard. What I prefer that whenever I'm traveling, I will carry a small keyboard so it is easy for me to put in my bag. At my home, I may have a bigger keyboard. So that is what we call optimization. So when your
Okay,
model is there, when your agent code is there, we may want to optimize it in a way that it can serve in that particular environment. That is what we refer as inference optimization. Does it make
got it.
sense?
So make it more performant.
Exactly, exactly.
Got it.
And
Makes
last thing here is that when you want to get the most best result out of your agent and AI agents, what you would be needing a platform behind the scene like a GPU, the compute power which is required. So GPUs are fine tuned to run these kind of code, your requests which are coming out, do a parallel processing, generate tokens and all. So that is where your GPUs will come into picture. So that is what on a high level, what it looks like that when a user AI agent and safety governance and then model and then inference optimization and GPU, all of these work together to get started with that. Are we
So
clear
do I
on this
need
so far?
always GPU acceleration? Because that can be cost uh, heavy for us.
See, I would say you would prefer to have GPU acceleration because that optimizes the output you are getting. Why we are able to get so much breakthrough in machine learning nowadays, Parna? Because the GPUs are powerful enough to perform these parallel calculations. So your code can still run on a CPU, but let's say it take 20 milliseconds to complete, whereas on GPU it may complete into 1 millisecond. So that running
Got
of
it.
parallel thread where we have a lot of models who are generating data and they're reading that data again and again, we may want to do things parallelly, and that's why GPUs are required or GPUs are optimized for it. So I would say you would obviously be needing GPUs in these kind of cases. Does it make sense?
Yes. Yeah. Makes sense.
Great. So this is what we need for running anything on production. You would need agent, you would need safety, AI model, a platform, optimization, and GPU. Once you have all of this, you should be able to run all your agent. And we already have this on AWS. So like you are a AWS customer, Parna, we will be able to help you out in all these cases. So let me talk a little bit on how we can run agentic AI on AWS, that what platform capabilities we have to support your agentic AI journey. All right.
Yeah.
So we obviously have little less time, so I'll quickly cover it. But yeah, there are a lot of documentation we'll provide at the end. So we need an agent which can be running continuously and can look for improvements. So for that, we have Bedrock Agent Core, where harnesses, memory, gateway, browser. These are capabilities of Amazon Bedrock Agent Core. Then we have safety and governance. For that also, we have Bedrock Guardrails who can help you out, can get your policies implemented, can take observability into picture. And when you are looking for models, we have many models which you can look for, like Nova or Claude or other Bedrock models which are available. Plus, you can deploy and serve or expose your model without worrying about all the behind the scene infrastructure. For that, we have Bedrock. We can run it into serverless fashion. We have SageMaker AI, where you want to build your own model or you want to build your endpoints that can work. And if you want to do everything on your own hands-on approach, we have Amazon EC2 or ECS. We'll be covering that into coming sections also. And for inference optimization, you can do prompt caching, you can do intelligent prompt routing, and then run inferences profile associated with that. And when it comes to GPU, we also have a lot of option for you. You can use NVIDIA GPUs in that. AWS has its own Inferentia and Trainium GPUs. We can create ultra cluster. You can set up HPCs if required. So there are many things which you can achieve on AWS when you are running for agentic AI or POC to production. Does it make sense?
Yes, I got it. But I guess Agent Core, I've really heard about it. It's like a comprehensive set which has all these AI capabilities that I can quickly get my POC up and running up to production. Maybe you could walk me a little through that one specifically.
Yeah, yeah. Then I would be a little quick here because we already have a guest for the stage for keynote. So Bedrock is the platform where you would be able to ship your agent very fast. We don't want you to spend your time into undifferentiated heavy lifting. This is the word we like most in Amazon. So we will take care of all these things related to platform, connection, optimization, framework you need, models you need through Amazon Bedrock Agent Core. And it's not just that we provide you basic infrastructure. You can build lots and lots of things, and company have built a tremendous solution, complicated solutions on it. So we have multiple component in them who can work together to provide you a platform. And if I talk about the connection format, here we have like clients, and then we can have different models associated with it. We can have different frameworks on it. So it's like not like you are restricted to what we have to offer. You can expand its capabilities by bringing more framework, bringing more models on that. So it's clearly extensible platform where you can keep on building and enhancing whatever products you have built so far. All right, I'll stop here because of the time. We are already 1 minute over, but I hope you got an understanding of how our agent core works and what are the things required for taking an agent from POC to production. And I hope I have answered some of your foundational questions also.
Yes, it's all clear. Thank you so much, Ashish.
Great,
And
so
Ashish,
much.
probably we can cover this like during the workshop section because this bit will be
Yeah, I'll
important for
skip this slide.
workshop that we are going to do today.
Great. Thank you, Parna, and hope you had good time and hopefully everyone is enjoying the session. Thank you so much. And now I would add Matt on the stage and I'll remove myself and Parna, and please continue, Prasad, all the discussion you had. Welcome. Happy to have you, Matt, here. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. So let's get to the next session, which is the fireside chat with Matt. And Matt, thank you so much. I know it is like 7 a.m. your time on a Saturday. So thank you for coming on. But we could not have thought about a better speaker than you, Chief AI and Technology Officer at AWS for this cohort that we are running on Agentic AI on AWS, taking the agents to production on AWS. And many of our audience would have already known you and listened to you from the keynotes that you have been delivering over the years. But for the audience here, we would love to know your journey. So please feel free to introduce yourself and let us know what led to here where you are actually.
Yeah, thank you so much. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, it's a bit patchy in terms of the internet connection probably, but it's all good. Go for it.
Okay, I'll go for it. Well, thank you so much. It's great to be here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. That was by far the fastest agent core introduction I've ever heard, so good job. But my name's Matt. I'm the CTO at AWS. I just rejoined the company a couple months ago into this new role. Before that, I was a CTO at PwC. And if you ever want to know what it takes to drive AI transformation, try doing it inside a 180-year-old, 380,000 person regulated audit business. Pretty different from how we do things at Amazon, but made a lot of progress. And it had a ton of fun as we were doing that. Got a lot done. Before that, I was at Amazon for 15 years. I was an early employee for AWS over in Europe. Helped build the business over there, and then relocated to Seattle, Washington, where I'm currently based. And in case you're wondering, yes, it is raining. But I've been here for 15 years, 17, 18 years now. And I've been involved in pretty much every aspect of the AWS cloud in that time. I led all up product strategy. I have launched somewhere in the region of 120 services, something like that. I started the machine learning team, and for my sins, are now involved in pretty much everything related to artificial intelligence across the company.
Yeah, and welcome and thank you so much. So, like Chief AI and Technology Officer, it's a brand new role at AWS created just for you, right? So, help us picture it. What does your day actually looks like, and how much time you spend with customers versus service team helping them better the products?
Yeah, it's a great question. I start my day usually with a very large cup of coffee, and I like to in the morning just spend as much time as I can. Either as I'm getting into the office or even before I get into the office, just surveying the sort of news of the day. AI is a pretty fast-moving, pretty dramatic space at the moment, and so I try and stay up to speed and read the latest papers that are published overnight. There's new approaches which are really interesting, appearing from industry and academia, virtually every single day. I'm sure by the time we finished our time here together today, there'll be another one worthy of our attention. So I have a series of agents that I use to scour the archive for scientific papers, or scour social media, or even just scouring the AWS feeds to see what AWS has published overnight. Always very revealing. So I drink my coffee over there and then head in, and my day is a mixture of working with our service teams on some of the sort of deep technical problems that we are trying to solve at AWS when it comes to model training at scale, or whether we're doing some work on our next generation of our chips and accelerators, whether we're doing work on our inference engine, whether we're doing work on the applications that use all these things. I must have spent time with well over 1,000 different teams at Amazon, every single one of them using AI in some interesting way, either at AWS or across the company. And then I spend a lot of time with customers as well. This space is incredibly intimidating for most organizations that are not already large technology companies. Even large technology companies find it intimidating for what it's worth. But I spend a lot of time with their developers, spend a lot of time with their data scientists, spend a lot of time with their executive leaders, spend a lot of time with their boards, just trying to help them kind of unravel what this might mean for them. And we spend, I would say, equal times talking about the technology and what works and what doesn't, and equal time just talking about what it takes to deploy these capabilities at scale inside an organization. Which we have a lot of experience at Amazon, and spend a lot of my time on at PwC as well. So probably about 50-50.
Wow, that's extensive. I'm sure you try and get some breathing space for yourself during the whole busy day.
I've tried. There is a lesson to learn here. I'll share it with you. Somebody told me this my first ever day at Amazon. And I was in the coffee bar of the old Amazon.co.uk office in the UK, just outside Heathrow. If you've ever flown in or out of the UK, it's about 20 minutes from Heathrow. In the Slough office, it's one of the worst offices you've ever seen. It was very frugal, let's put it that way. We're in the coffee bar. Anyway, the advice was you just got to set your own pace at Amazon, and you got to defend that pace. And I actually think that is good advice for this cohort as well. This space moves just so quickly. Just find a pace that is sustainable. Find what works for you. I promise you there's going to be more than you can cover. I promise you there won't be any time next week to catch up. So we're not in a crunch period where we can just keep our heads down and get through it. This is going to be the pace for the foreseeable future, at the very minimum. So you've got to set your own pace and kind of do everything you can to preserve and maintain your own pace, because there's not going to be any chance to catch up later. That's always stood me in very good stead at Amazon, and it means that you can just you can keep going through some very very high growth times. 2010 in AWS was a very, very fast growing time for AWS. We're experiencing a similar level of growth at the moment, with our AI business at the moment as well. So it stood me in good stead. I think it's good advice.
That's a great advice, and thank you so much. It's so important that we all set our own paces based on what we can do and what we can achieve, because there's so much to consume. So Matt, as you know, in BESA, we do focus on technical track as well as behavioral track. First, I'll focus on technical track, where the topic here is helping, taking the AI agents to production in AWS. Now, you talk quite a lot about helping customers get real value from AI and turning like AI from possibility to production. So from everything that you have seen and experienced, what separates the projects that make it to production from the ones that demo well but quietly fade away?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think there's some obvious things that I think anybody would talk about, and there's some less obvious things. So the obvious thing is the ones that persevere tend to be the ones that are solving a real problem. But what is interesting about AI is that you can get to quote unquote production by solving problems of pretty much any size and scale. Usually when a new technology arrives, it appears quite expensive, but over time you kind of find the box that it fits inside, and that's what it's good for. If you think of something like blockchain, it's this big thing, distributed finance, going to change how we make purchases, going to change how finance systems work across the whole planet. And over time, maybe in time it'll get there, but over time it just seems like a pretty good ledger. The opposite is happening with AI, right? The aperture of utility for artificial intelligence, it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And one of the things that I think a lot of organizations miss in the early stages is that some of those smaller use cases, they can be personal productivity use cases, it can be an individual building a tool inside a company, it can be a tool for you or your team or your department, whatever it might be. There is a huge amount of learning that goes into that early product. And that learning usually looks like, number one, it's solving a problem that a person has or a team has or a department has, or external set of customers has, that is really, really well defined. The second thing usually has going for it is that team has or can get access to easily a set of contextual data that is accessible to their agents. And so this was the night and day realization for us at Amazon, that the more we were able to produce a robust, secure context layer that allowed us to access information freely and easily, that really helped fuel more and more production assistance. And we actually turned that into a service. We built it for Amazon Quick, but we turned it into a service for everybody called AWS Context, which we launched a couple months ago. And that is a real accelerator. You can think of it conceptually as a knowledge graph, but really it is a robust sort of contextual cache with very, very rich metadata. And the other thing that you tend to learn is that really great production AI systems, they improve through their own use. And so if you take something like your context layer, one of the things that we started doing at Amazon is we don't access that directly, and we don't have the systems under the hood just being getting the data from that using retrieval augmented generation. Instead, we have search agents, and those search agents have a really novel and important characteristic over a SQL query or something where you're just getting the raw data and trying to make sense of it. And that is that they perform better when they have when you give them the intent of their query. So if they know what they're trying to do and why, the agent themselves tends to perform better. And so what we do is, and you can do this at any scale, and one of our key learnings was use that intent to evaluate the agent's success. So at the end of the process, we can say, hey, this is the original intent. How did we do? And we've already returned to the user. We do it offline, asynchronously. We return to the user, like, how did we do on this one? Did we fulfill the user's intent? And if we did, what data did we access that was useful in fulfilling that intent? Or what data did we access that turned out to be not useful? And what that means is that over time, the agent themselves can self-optimize. And they self-optimize by generating better answers because they've notarized what worked last time. We just use that information as part of the context to generate a better response next time. But they're also far more token efficient because they are exploring a more constrained space. And so because of that, they're able to just perform much more efficiently, which reduces the costs. And anywhere with AI that you can make the next run incrementally better or incrementally cheaper automatically, that's one of the magical properties of AI that I think sometimes gets overlooked. And so one of the elements of production that we look for, you can define that any way that you want, but this can happen at personal levels or at team levels or customer facing levels, is that ability to be able to continually improve and reduce the marginal cost of our agents as they are running. And we're at the earliest stages of that, but I think that's one of the kind of unique properties of AI and running in production, that you can self-improve your operations just by using the system. And if you do that, you'll use the system more. And if you use the system more, then it gets better. And if it gets better, you'll use more. So this magical, these magical loops kind of exist pretty rarely in computer science, honestly. But this is a flywheel that early production systems spin often and quickly. And if you do that, then you've got something which will be sustaining because you'll be able to lean into that flywheel.
Amazing. Yeah, the flywheel actually works perfectly. What you should do is, Matt, probably visualize it, draw it properly, and then probably share it. And I'm sure you keep sharing those things on your LinkedIn. But a proper visualization would be really helpful for everyone here who are new to understand.
Yeah, for sure. It actually flows more than that. Not to complicate my own metaphor, but you can also take some of that information and closed loop feed it back into a training loop for reinforcement learning. And
Yeah.
so the other thing that we found in terms of driving long-term sustainable differentiation through AI in production is that you want a really, really close fit between your model and your harness. So the harness is just what accesses the context layer, or what accesses the tools, or what you give back to the user. It's all the machinery around the model. And as a percentage of the system, the model is becoming a percentage contributor of the success of the system. The model is actually becoming smaller and smaller and smaller. It's still critical, obviously, but the harness and the fit between the harness and the model, that's probably 60%, the majority of the thing to get right with production systems today. And what we found is you often have to co-develop the model with the harness. And so if you've got a lot of agent runs, a lot of agent traces, and you can track the output of the impact of that run all the way downstream to the customer impact, could be a sale, could be an operational event, whatever it might be, using that as a closed loop to feed back into your model closes the gap between the harness and the model. And that means that the harness is just much more efficient itself and is more consistent in its use. And that consistency also drives scale as well as token efficiency. And so there's lots of any way you can find these loops, lean into them. They are the essence of building long-term sustained differentiation.
So, Matt, what you explained in the last 5-10 minutes is a crux of it. And I'm sure it would have taken a lot of time for you to get all the understandings of what you have, based on the customer experience, based on your learning. So I'll take one question from the audience here, which is kind of related in terms of upskilling. What are the 2 sources you rely on most to stay up to date so that you get to know the latest and greatest? And why do you consider them as reliable?
I get this question all the time. It's a good one. I used to give an answer of, there's good coverage in The Economist, there's good coverage in some of the data science blogs, but honestly, it always felt a little, like a little bit of a weak answer to give, this is the magical source for everything related to AI. There are good, reliable sources out there, but also there's just a bunch of poor opinion out there. It's very difficult to piece it all together. So I understand the essence of the question. The way I've started to think about it myself is that AI is unusual for a number of reasons, but AI is unusual in this regard because there is a large number of threads related to AI development. There's a sort of technical thread, there's the integration thread, there's sort of a supply chain thread, there's use case threads, there's like agents and cybersecurity and coding assistance. There is applications thread, but there's also society and policy threads. And I tend to think of this less as, this is just a feed that I just got to, it's like another inbox I've got to get through. And more like there's a set of overlapping and interweaving threads. And those threads with most technology doesn't have anywhere near as many threads, number one. And usually those threads are pretty separable. You can pay attention to the technology or you can pay attention to the policy. And yeah, sometimes they overlap, but usually they're separate. But with AI, they are overlapping and crisscrossing all the time. There's a new technical development and that has an immediate effect on the policy discussion. Or there's a new policy discussion that has an immediate effect on the societal elements or the enterprise elements. And so I tend to think of it more as a series of threads. And I have a series of agents that try and keep all those threads together for me. And so as part of my morning daily briefing, I identify a lot of different feeds from a lot of different sources, but I try and build that connectivity between all the different threads. And that connectivity, how they all relate to one another, is the essence of understanding, I think. Otherwise, you get too deep on the technology and not deep enough on the use cases, or vice versa. And having a broad view of how it all fits together turns out to be really, really useful. And I can share those agents with you by all means, but I also considered it useful to publish my own knowledge graph. And so the graph that is created as a result of my attention into those threads, I actually publish on the web, and I can share the URL for you. And it has agent instructions, so you can pull down that information as well. So you can see all of those threads, but through the tacit attention of myself, which is overtly biased and is based on my own experience and is not intended to be enumerative, but is more valuable as a result. So I think of it like a context cast. So yeah, we have podcasts and you cast other things. This is a context cast. I've chosen to share and syndicate my attention across all those threads. And you can read about that on mattwood.fyi. I call it for your information. .fyi. So you can go and take a look there, and there's instructions on how to connect that to your agent, or you can read it as a human as well.
Let me paste that link right away in the YouTube channel, and later on we'll be sharing it on the Discord and over the email also with everyone. But that's a great source, Matt. Thank you for sharing it with us. Now let's shift a bit focus on the behavioral track that we have in our BESA, which is mainly about leading the customer conversations. Now, you have seen customer conversations from both sides of the table, Matt, like as AWS and as a customer at PwC, right? And you have spent a good amount of time at PwC being pitched by cloud and AI providers, including AWS, I'm sure. So sitting on that table, what did the best essays and the account teams did that actually earned your trust?
Oh, that's a great question. I think a couple things. The first was they helped, and I've seen this inside AWS as well, and I'm sure you can speak to it as well, just as well as me. But the best essays that I found are the ones that help customers identify the really big needle-moving innovations for their own business. To do that, you have to understand the business really, really deeply, and you have to have great partnership and all the things that everybody will tell you day in, day out. You have to understand it, you have to work with them, you have to show up, you have to share information, good information flow, good project management. All of those things are true, but you can learn that anyway. What I found makes the difference is, can you sit down with a small group inside that organization, inside the customer organization? This works, by the way, really well over beer and pizza. So bring some beer and pizza, sit down with a small group and brainstorm. Have them bring some ideas on the customer side. AWS and the SAs on our side bring some big ideas. And what usually happens is, sometimes you land on one that's so obvious you can just go off and do it. But usually that back and forth over beer and pizza, maybe we should do a beer and pizza scholarship. That's what we should do. We should fund with this cohort, we should fund like a whole bunch of beer and pizza to fund these sorts of initiatives. They work really well. And it's basically collaborative problem solving. The ability to be able to sit down with a group, either in person or virtually, over beer and pizza, and actually come up with what is the next big thing that we want to do? What is the problem that we are trying to solve? And what is an inventive, think big way to solve it? And if you can do that, you can usually get the excitement going for the customer and for AWS to take on some really, really hard, gnarly, difficult challenges. That if you get them right, they can be risky, but if you get them right, there'll be a really big, meaningful difference. And so having that level of understanding of the business and the technology, pulling it together and being able to communicate and facilitate and bring big ideas to the table, that most companies don't have any mechanism for doing that. They don't have a big team internally that is just constantly thinking up these ideas. They may have a center of excellence for innovation or something like that, but usually in an ivory tower somewhere disconnected from the business. The role a really great SA plays is that they are pragmatic, but they're also great simplifiers, and they are technical experts, and they are business experts. And pulling all that together, coming up with those big ideas is so important, because it drives momentum for the project. If you've got a big idea you're really excited about, then you can like actually get through some of the invention gates to get there. And the second thing as a result you have to do as a great SA is just take a really long-term view. Don't turn up at the end of the quarter just because you've got some, some internal target to make or anything like that. You've got to push the spend up. Ugh, horrible. There are some technology companies that do that. I wouldn't recommend it. It's not how we do it at AWS. But that long-term vision, if you've got a big idea, it'll take a while to figure out. And if you've got momentum, that time is actually a gift, because it'll give you time to get through all the innovation gates and all the innovation challenges. Innovation doesn't feel like you think it's going to feel. It doesn't feel like it is in the movies. You don't fall off the toilet with a clock and invent the flux capacitor. It doesn't work that way. It comes from like just relentless long-term approaches and trying things that work and trying things that don't work and building on what works and learning from the stuff that didn't work. And if you can do that for long enough, that length of that long-term view is such a gift that most organizations don't encourage, and most other vendors, don't take advantage of. And then finally, be a connector inside the vendor. Be a connector inside AWS. Be a connector that knows the right people, that can be a evangelist for the customer problem, that can rally the resources of the organization and put those in front of the customer to pull together all the difficult, complex stuff that you're going to go solve. And if you can do those three things, the account will just fly, the customer will be super successful, and everybody gets promoted. High fives all around.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And I just wanted to highlight a thing which I highlighted is that people are loving the insights that you are sharing, Matt, and they would love to see you more often, which we'll try and get you more often into the cohort. And I'll definitely take you up on, the beer and the pizza stuff.
Beer and pizza scholarships. That's what we're going to do. I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk about, building careers, right? And many people in this cohort are at inflection point. Like some are breaking into cloud, some are pivoting into AI, some restarting their careers after a break, irrespective of which part they are, whichever path they are on, they are upskilling on AI. And like Matt, you have made a career pivot yourself in your career, right? You were a medical student and then to cloud and now to AI. So for people who are making their own pivot to AI, what skills transfer between different fields? And what do you recommend them to build from scratch?
Yeah, I think a good one is just curiosity. It's most people give an answer something like that. Curiosity really matters, particularly in this space when you're learning anything. Usually there's something that speaks to you about the problem space or the technology or the impact, those sorts of things, and allowing yourself freedom to explore and satisfy that curiosity is really important. But there's another one that I think is as important that I don't think gets talked about enough, and that's just attitude. Attitude goes so far in your career. The attitude that you bring to work, the attitude of someone that loves what they do, and you can't fake this, by the way, you actually have to love what you do, but an attitude which is fun to work with. You should never undervalue that. Being fun to work with is such a differentiator inside a company. And look, sometimes I'm not fun to work with because sometimes we have to have hard conversations, but that's not what I'm talking about. The attitude that you bring to that hard conversation. You're not pointing fingers. It's not a referendum on anyone's competence. You're trying to get to a ground truth of what is really happening so that you can all make a different decision. You can do that in a way which is athletic, which is high energy, which is inclusive, which is fast moving, where you don't get snagged on dogma and politics. Bring that attitude to work. And the folks that I have seen really accelerate, through their career or through the ranks or just go on to have tremendous impact are the ones that just have just a tremendously positive, technical, but fun attitude. And not everyone is like predisposed to that. I'm not suggesting you have to like go and fake it. But if you find something you're really passionate about and you love the people you work with, which most people do, by the way, then bring the best attitude you can and just be a relentless simplifier and a relentless problem solver. Sometimes maybe a relentless pain in the butt, but do it in a way which is high attitude and approachable. That is such a undervalued, underexplored, and difficult thing to build, because early on in your career, you don't feel like you have permission to either be yourself, or there's an existing prototype or archetype you're trying to fit into. Forget all that. It doesn't matter. Go be yourself. Bring the best possible attitude that you can. Go be fun to work with.
That's an amazing advice, being fun to work with, the attitude. And there was a small mention of what you mentioned about being approachable.
Yeah.
Being approachable is such a underrated thing that, if you love what you do, and if you're approachable, everyone would be, enjoying working with you. And then you spread that, joy around you, which makes it overall a great team.
It's like a spike in everybody's confidence. It's like, oh, this person gets it. I want to spend more time with this person. I feel more confident that we'll get to the end of it. And that confidence builds momentum, and that momentum becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And the more energy you can put into that early momentum, yes, curiosity, yes, technical depth, yes, business insights, all of those sorts of things. But that attitude driving that confidence, very, very rare to see inside business. And those that display it go on to do great things every time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We are on time. And what I'll do is that I'll ping Matt's LinkedIn profile. If you do not follow him yet, do follow him. He shares great insights and is very, very frequently he shares insight on LinkedIn. And I know you have a newsletter, Matt Counterintuitive. So feel free to subscribe to his newsletter also. Now I learn a lot from that newsletter. So thank you so much, Matt, for joining us again on a Saturday morning and sharing all the insights with us.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, starting from getting agents into production to actually earning trust of the customer conversation. And everyone who is listening, that's what we'll continue to do in the next 6 weeks. We'll try and do as much as hands-on, understand how you can take your AI agents into production. And in the behavioral track, we'll learn how you can lead the customer discussions. Thank you again, Matt.
Take it easy. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, you all.
That was a nice conversation. Lots of nuggets of wisdom available there. Like you could follow along and get the most out of the agentic AI system. So thanks for that, Prasad and Matt. And let's now move on to the next step. We have a lot of questions, and like our volunteers are doing great job in answering most of them. I would suggest one thing: if you can just check before putting the question if it has already been answered, it would save a lot of time for everyone. So please check if it has already been answered, read from that. If not, then please ask question. We are happy to help as much as you can. Now let me bring back Parna to the stage, and thanks Prasad. Parna would help us today in understanding how the workshop runs. A lot of you are curious about how the workshops runs actually. So let us walk you through the process. Parna would take care of the things here, and we will be then moving on to the sections related to what you need to do next. Let me add your screen
Ashish, do
sharing,
you
Parna.
want to
Yeah.
give a short run through Agent Core, because we were short on time earlier? Yeah,
I think that will be
just
helpful.
that one
Ashish?
slide.
Yeah.
Or do you want me to go? Either way is fine. I
So,
have
yeah,
the slide with me if you want me to bring that up.
That would be nice, Parna, if you could bring that up.
I'll just bring that up. Are you able to see it?
Yeah, I can see it. So this is what our lab and workshop is all around. It is all about agent core. So agent core is a core, like lots of capabilities put together into a framework format, which you can leverage to build your own solutions around it without worrying about nitty-gritty details about their acceleration or GPUs or maybe fine tuning. We will take care of lots of things for you, security related stuff too. So agent core is group of capabilities. It's not one single product. Within that, you can find memories. Within that, you can find harness. Within that, you can find guardrails. All of them put together gives you a solid platform to get started. And the good point, as you see here, that we can have leveraging the various models in that. So common component like you need memory, you need observability so you can monitor what is happening. Are they working fine or not? You need to ensure security is there, so identity is there. And then there are multiple frameworks you can use. You can obviously use strands agents in that. You can use LangChain, you can use LangGraph, you can use Crew AI in that. So all these frameworks are also associated here, and you can bring various models also inside it. So it's like a place where you can come and assemble your agent with the provided tools and capabilities which are there, which is agent core. And in the workshop, what we are provisioning for you today, you would be getting hands-on on some of the stuff as we move forward. And like there is one more thing which we will discuss at the later stage about the fundamental stuff. If you're very new to it, we covered it into our last batch, but I'll give you some links also on how you can learn more on the fundamentals of agent code. Right.
All right.
Great.
All right. Thank you so much, Ashish. I'm sure you will learn a lot when you do the workshop. It's a very extensive workshop, and it goes through a lot of depth of agent core. So make sure that you read through the instructions as well as the concepts over there as well. Do not do it mechanically. Everything will make sense to you. Before I give you a
I want
little,
to add one more thing here, Parna. Sorry if I'm interrupting you. So, like,
sure.
you may find that workshop is it's a very lengthy workshop. It doesn't mean that you have to go through every single step to understand it. Hey, there may be a lot of food available into a shop, but I need to worry about how much I can eat at the same time. Same thing here. Bedrock Agent Core workshop has so much information there. So don't worry if you are not able to follow along everything. If you do first 4 or 5 labs or 4 or 5 steps, sorry, what you call it there, the
Labs. Yeah,
sections, right?
there are. Yeah.
Labs, 4 or 5 labs, that should give you good enough understanding. And try to understand what you are doing rather than just copy pasting information. Anyone can do it. You don't want to act here like a mechanical person, as Parna said. So try to understand the logic is behind it and why you are doing it, and then you would learn a lot on that.
I love the analogies that Ashish gave, right? Like a lot of food in the
Yeah.
supermarket, you're not going to eat all of it. Like, I don't know from where does he comes
Exactly.
it instantly. But yeah, that's what, like we do have provisioned workshops, and we share the access code in the Discord channel that Parna is showing here shortly as soon as the live stream ends. And you would be having access for, we generally say that you will have 4 hours access. If needed, we'll provide access a bit more time, but the overall duration will be maximum 24 hours. But whenever you will log in, you will have around 4 to 6 hours to complete the workshop. And then there would be a workshop support channel where you would be able to ask questions. So ask questions only if they are not already answered. Please do a bit of a due diligence to look at the previous thread. There is a search functionality also. Search for it. If the question has been asked already, please try and get the answers from there. So as you see right now, 1200 plus people are watching the live stream. There will be 1000 plus people who will be doing the workshop. If all the 1000 people ask the same questions, it will be very difficult for us as volunteers, and there are 50 plus community volunteers who are helping us. So it will be difficult for all of us to help you. So please help us help you by looking at those questions already and then asking the questions. With that, we'll let Parna go ahead and explain you how to get started with the workshop.
Thank you so much, Ashish and Prasad. So as Prasad said, you soon after the live stream, you will get the links to your workshop, which has the access code within the links. So once you click on them, remember that you will need to go and choose the option which says email OTP. Okay, choose the first orange option only. When you click on that, the next screen that you will get is this one. So this is the business email. I'm repeating it. This is the business email that you use for registering for the workshop. You might have used a different personal email for getting the newsletters or registering into the cohort, but this has to be the business email that you use for registering to the workshop. Okay, if you've not used that, you will not see the OTP come in there and you won't be able to do the workshop. Okay, so I'm just repeating it. Ensure that you use the OTP option. All right, let me take you to what the workshop will look like now. All right, so once you go to the workshop link, the instructions, this is what it will look like to you. And on the left hand side panel, you will see there is prerequisites. So y'all are actually part of the event. Okay, so only focus on AWS event setup. Do not look at the self-paced setup. This is only for people who wish to do it in their own account. But as we've repeatedly said, that this is at your own risk. You have to be aware about the cost, the resources, make sure to clean it up, etc. Okay. But as you all are part of the event, workshop event, look at this one only. Okay. So the part that I was telling you about, that you'll get a link. So ignore this part. This is going to be actually the link that's going to be shared with you on Discord. Be alert. It will come over there. Use the OTP option like I told you. And you should see that email in your inbox. By chance, there are some rules in your work email. It might land up in the junk folder or spam folder. Please go and have a look over there before you go to Discord and say that, hey, I have not got it. Okay. So please look at the junk or spam folder over there, and then you can join the event. When you join the event, you'll see something like this, and there's going to be an acknowledgement that you'll have to click the check box on and submit that. Once you do that, this is what you will kind of see. Okay, I'll show you what you'll see now. Just give me a minute. Okay, this is what you will see, and on the left hand side you're going to see your AWS console link. It shows you also the region. Note the region, it's US East 1, so you will see US East 1 here. If for some reason you need CLI credentials, I don't think you'll need it as part of the workshop, but anyways, it is found here. Okay, so this, if you right click and you open it, it will take you to your console. I have plenty of windows open. It will take you to your console. Okay, and the main thing is you're going to be using an IDE which is hosted on an EC2 instance, ready for you to use. Okay, so in case you don't see it, click over here. I'm sorry, click at the top over here, and in the events outputs, you will see the editor URL out here. Okay, once you right click or you copy it and paste it, or you right click and open it, it will open into an IDE which looks similar to your VS Code. Okay, so if you've used VS Code before, the UI is very much similar to that. Okay, so right now you're seeing code over here, but initially you won't see all of this. This is just for me to demonstrate to you. All your code will come out on the left hand side. For any reason that you've closed it, the way to open up your file explorer is through this icon. Just click it and open it. If you want to go to the file options, the 3 hamburger menu dashbars over here, click on that. That's for your file options. I would suggest once the IDE is open, ensure that you have autosave on, because there's going to be plenty of edits that you're going to be doing throughout the labs. So it's better that you have autosave on, else you'll have to continuously keep on saving it. So check that this is on. The other important thing is, once you have the IDE, you are not alone. You have Claude to help you also. So there is already Claude set up inside. So you can click over here and the chat window will open up. So you can chat with your workspace. You can understand your code. So you can, if you don't understand what you're doing, what these lines of code mean, go ahead, select it and ask your questions. So you can do it here. Okay, you can do it here, or the other option is you can click here. Once you click here, it opens up on the right hand side. So I prefer looking at it on my right hand side, just next to my code, rather than over here. So you can do it here as well. As you can see, you can select your code. Okay, once you select it over here, and if you have a Mac, you can press command and it will show you the selection. Okay, so you can see 6 lines selected, and then I can ask questions around it. Okay, so you have your AI companion out here. If you don't need it, go ahead and close it. You can open multiple chat sessions also. Okay, so this is there to help you. You can chat with Claude over here, or you can go through the CLI way. If some of you prefer CLI, you can open up your terminal. Okay, so you'll see your terminal over here. For some reason, if you do not see your terminal, do not fret. Go over here, go to view and click on terminal. Okay, so you can open up your terminal and it will come up over here. If you want multiple terminals to work on, you can see this plus icon. You can open multiple terminals. As you can see, I have multiple terminals because I wanted to use Claude in one. In one of them, I have the server running for my front end. Okay, it's running here, but I want to run some commands also, so I opened another terminal. So you can click on this plus button. Now, how can you use Claude through the terminal? All you have to do is say Claude, okay? And it'll start up here. Now it's up to you. Where do you want to use its assistance? You can do it through CLI. You can use it inbuilt over here, or the third option I showed you. Once you click here, it comes up over here as well. Okay. Now going back to the workshop over here, once you have the IDE open. So in this particular workshop, it's very simple because there is agent core CLI you're going to be using throughout. This is a guided workshop, so you are not expected to know the commands. Everything is given to you, but you need to ensure that you follow the steps, okay, one by one. In this workshop, we'll be using the terminal most of the time. There will be a stage where you will have a front end just to understand the feel of it, and you will have a terminal to talk to your agent. But most of the workshop you will see is through the CLI over here, and you will be interacting, invoking, at least in the first few labs, you will be invoking through the CLI. Okay. Few things that you need to take note of. Let me go back here. I would suggest that instead of directly jumping into the instructions, there is an architecture diagram in every lab. Okay, so as Ashish and Prasad mentioned, this is a very deep lab. It goes from beginner to advanced level with lot of features about memory, about using gateway, about observability, about evaluation, optimization, a lot more, policies, etc. So I would suggest focus on the first 5 labs. Okay, focus on these. If you have time and you wish to do more, please go ahead and do it. Nobody's there stopping you, but these are the core labs, I would say. In each lab, once you go here, of course, follow the steps, but there is an architecture diagram in every lab you'll see. So for example, in the first part of the lab, we are using agent core CLI, and it through the commands, we are actually going to scaffold the entire project structure. So when I say scaffold, this whole thing that you saw over here, this whole structure, this is the agent that we are going to be building, the customer support agent. The whole scaffolding or the project structure will be built for you, and you're going to build over it. So initially you're going to be testing locally, then at one stage you're going to be deploying it on cloud. Once you reach that stage of deployment on the cloud, remember, you can go and see your agents, you can go and see your memory features. Okay, let me just see. You can see your memory, you can see your gateway, you can see everything through the console as well. So it is a good way of verifying. So for example, once you deploy on the cloud, when you reach that stage that after you finish testing, you'll see that in your labs, you can go and verify, go and search for agent core over here. Okay, go over here, open up the left panel, and at every stage, say you are at the first stage when you're just starting with that basic agent that you're building, you will be able to see your agent deployed in the runtime over here. Okay, this is what you're going to be seeing. You want to explore it more. If it's difficult for you to look through the code and CLI, I would suggest click on it, go through the details over here. Okay, same way as you are going through each lab, you're going to be connecting it to a gateway which connects it to MCP tools. You can come and look at your gateway over here, and this will give you an easy way to look at all the features and details of the gateway as well. For example, at one stage, you will be having Lambda functions, which will be your ready to use tools, right, which you're going to be accessing through the gateway. So if you want to know what it looks like, you can come here and look at the target tools. Target is nothing but your tools. You can look here. You can actually go and look at your Lambda function code as well. So you don't have to write the code, but I would suggest go and have a look at it. Okay, so when the console is available to you, you can go and look through the code. And as I said, Claude is available to you. You can just copy paste something and ask it as well. Okay, now few things. Of course, there's a wonderful complete workshop video that Kanti has curated for you. You can keep it at the side. The link will be shared with you. I think, are we going to share it on Discord, or are we sharing it now, Prasad, Ashish? I think both the places.
Sharing it now, Aparna.
Yeah, so you can keep it at your side and you can pause it while you're doing your workshop, so you know you're on the right track, and you can just replay, rewind, and see what she's doing in it, and you can repeat the steps as well. So follow that. So I'm not going to be going through every step because it will take us 4 hours otherwise, but I'll tell you some points that you need to take care of. So like I said, in every lab, go and look at this architecture diagram. So this is going to be a starting point. You're going to build an agent over here. Okay, so you're going to scaffold it, you're going to configure it, you're going to deploy it. It will have 2 inbuilt tools you will see at the beginning. Okay, that is coded into it. Then you're going to be connecting to an external API called Exa via an MCP client. You don't have to write the code. The code is all there. You're just going to build over it with the instructions given. Okay, and this diagram will constantly be built over. So for example, in the next lab, I would say when you go to the next lab, we are going and adding memory to it. Okay, so there's going to be long-term, short-term memory. There's going to be what we call a session persistence, meaning within a session, it will remember what you spoke about earlier. Across sessions, how does it remember? All those things you're going to experiment here. But as I said, always go and find that architecture diagram so you will understand what's happening. So we are in this particular stage, or this particular lab, we are adding this agent core memory. Similarly, if you go to the console, you will be able to see that memory component added also once you've done those steps. So you will actually see what's happening over here as well. Okay, so you will be actually seeing this over here. You can click through it and you can see details, like you will be adding things like semantic memory, summarization strategy. Okay, so you will be able to see all of this here. Okay, so keep checking your console back and forth and look at that architecture diagram as you're building over it. Now, one thing I want to tell you is when you reach lab 4, okay, so lab 4 is a stage where we are going to authenticate the users to go or authenticate themselves via JWT authentication using Cognito. Okay, now in this particular lab, we are going to generate tokens. Okay, so these tokens expire after 60 minutes. So there's going to be a step over here. Let me take you to that step. Okay, so again, you don't have to set up anything. This Cognito is all set up for you. If you're curious and you want to know where it's set up, you can feel free to go into CloudFormation. Okay, so again, the console is really handy because the things that you've not really done on your own, you can go ahead and see over here. So the stack is over here. Okay, so everything is here. Okay, so you can see what was created. So all the information about Cognito is stored in SSM parameters and all. This is just for your curiosity if you want to know what happened behind the scenes, because a lot of things are pre-created for you. Go ahead to CloudFormation, go to your stacks and go to prerequisites. You will see everything created here. Now going back to what I wanted to tell you was, there is a step in lab 4 where you need to set up your Cognito environment. You will be setting up your environment variables over here. And at one step, you're going to be generating the token. Just looking for that step over here. Token generation. Yeah, over here. Okay, so you're going to be generating the token, though there is always look at these. Okay, so there are warnings at right steps, something like this. Okay, it is possible that you're taking long, or it's not long, you might be reading through stuff and it would have expired. Okay, so you again need to rerun and get the token. Okay, the token is actually used to authenticate the user into using that agent. Okay, so it might happen that after an hour or so it might expire. So don't worry, you just need to regenerate the token again. Okay, it will tell you about it, but I'm just letting you know. Okay, that is one thing. Plus, when you are over here, suppose you started running some of the snippets where you set up environment variables, just like it's telling over here, right? At one point you are setting up environment variables. Okay, there'll be a lot of steps where you're setting up environment variables, like for example the step that I was showing you. Okay, so there'll be a lot of points where you'll be setting up. Now these environment variables are available only to that terminal that you're working on. Okay, by chance at some point of time you get disconnected and you open up a new terminal, remember those environment variables will not be available there, so you'll have to set it up again. Okay, so in case you're running something and it doesn't understand which environment variable you're talking about, it might be because you opened up a new terminal. So just remember that, in case for some reason you spun up another terminal or you got disconnected, those environment variables in the previous steps have to be set up again. Okay, so that is something you need to take note of. Lab 5, there is something that I'll just let you know. So this particular lab is about evaluating the quality, and there are some 13 inbuilt evaluators. So evaluation means we check for correctness, whether the right tools have been picked, whether the goal has been reached. Okay, there are helpfulness, there are many such parameters on which you evaluate your agent. So in this lab we are evaluating basis of 3 such parameters, but there are 2 ways in which you can do it. You can constantly evaluate them or you can do it on demand. So when you reach the stage where you are going to do it on demand, that might have an error. Okay, so I'm letting you know beforehand because we've tested it and we've seen that this tends to give some errors at times. Okay, this is an on-demand evaluation. So you can have evaluations running all the time, or on the spot, if you just want to evaluate your agent, you can run these commands, but you might get an error. So that is a known problem. Okay, the constantly running evaluation will, yeah.
But I think we are like running out of time, 4 minutes remaining. So we would try to
Okay,
address some of the common questions people have. But yeah, great walkthrough. And the common question was recording. Recording would be available just
yeah,
immediately after the session. Check BESA, YouTube. I know we had to cover a lot of things related to workshop. Watch the videos again. That is the beauty of technology today, that you could rewatch as many times as you want, slow it down, fast it if you want to. So please make sure you leverage technology at your best. But we will answer some common questions here for the people who have asked these questions. Like, first one is that business email address. We do not have any workaround associated with that. So you have to use a business email address for doing workshop. If you want to learn live, you have no business address required for that. So don't worry on that. Only for workshop, you need business addresses. And
And
go ahead, sir. Go ahead, Prasad.
and you can watch the step-by-step walkthrough that Kanti has recorded, and it is live on the YouTube already. I've shared the link. We'll share the link again. We'll share it on the Discord also.
Email.
Even if you're not able to do it on in the our provided AWS account, you can still watch each step walkthrough. Secondly, you can do the full workshop in your own account if you have an account, right? But please be mindful that it might incur you some cost. And Ashish, before the live stream ends, let me know. I'll share the screen and showcase where I have provided the access code.
Go ahead, share it. Share the screen. I'll add it to screen.
yeah.
Okay,
Just
then let
one
me.
thing I'll just let people know, just a second, just a small thing. In the UI based one, sometimes it might not work, so I just do a refresh. Okay, Control Shift R or Command Shift R just to refresh your screen or create a new session. Okay, sometimes you might not see your changes reflected, so just repeating that, just do a refresh, Control Shift R or Command Shift R, or a new session. Okay, because if you run something and you don't see it, do a refresh. Yeah, go ahead. I'll stop my sharing.
Okay, I'll share my screen. Uh, Give me one
While
moment.
you do it, somebody's asking a question. What are the deadlines? Workshop would be provisioned for 24 hours. Once you log in, you will get 4 to 6 hours to complete the workshop. These are the deadlines. If you cannot do workshop on your own account, we suggest you to watch videos. They have all the details required. Thanks, Kanti, for recording it. So all the information is available in a video format for somebody who do not have access to workshop or do not have AWS accounts. Go ahead, Prasad.
I will be pasting here. I have the message ready. I'll be pasting here the workshop access link in this particular channel. So when you go onto the Discord, workshop access code, this is what you need to access to find the workshop access code. Now, each workshop that we will provide has a capacity limit of 250 people. We as volunteers would be monitoring, and as soon as we are reaching 250, we will share the next access link. So we have around 2000 plus people who have requested to do the workshop, and we have enough accounts provisioned, periodically to provide you the workshop. So if it reaches the capacity, do not panic, wait for some time, check for the next workshop link in this particular channel. Okay. And for any questions, go to workshop support forum. There we will have every week workshop support. So week 1 workshop support, this is what you should be using for your workshop support. So if I click on here directly, so this is a week 1 workshop support. So this is what you should be using for asking any questions related to week 1 workshop. And please do not ask the same question in multiple channels. It is not going to help anyone. So, and here there is a search functionality. So you can always search it here. If there is a thread, so if you have a question, please try and search it here. If you get the answer, great. If you don't get the answer, then you can ask the question, right? You can always go here and search here also. So there are multiple options for you. Okay. That's pretty much. I'll stop the screen share. So again, going back here, workshop access code, I'll stop the screen share. And right now I am pasting the link there. I've stopped so that it is not published on YouTube live, but now I have put the workshop link there. So you should be able to access it. And as I mentioned, once it reaches the capacity of 250, we'll be sharing the next access link. So do not worry if it reaches the capacity. For anyone who has not been able to register because they were not aware of the timing issue or they do not have business email, please go through the walkthrough video. I've put that video also in that message. And you can do those in your own accounts.
Yeah, and I also want to enforce one thing that, hey, this is a volunteer-led effort, so be patient, be considerate of others who are supporting you. It's not a paid cohort where people are paid to support you. We are doing it on our free time on Saturdays to help you out in learning. So be a little patient. Do your own due diligence before asking a question. Search as much as you can so we can answer the actual question than repeating the same answer. So we would request everyone to watch the pre-session video we have. That is the most important to understand all logistics. A lot of you may have registered today or day before today. So before that, you should watch that video because we explain every single steps required for it. We may ignore the repeated question if it has already been answered. So just bear with us in that.
And one last thing, I'm going to share your screen, Ashish, here. I would love you to talk about this for people who are new for Bedrock.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
So Vijender has helped us previously with recording a Bedrock Agent Core Fundamentals workshop. Some of you may be very new to AWS, some of you may be very new to Bedrock. We suggest you go through this playlist which has more details associated with Bedrock Fundamentals. So in case you feel a little overwhelmed, that is completely fine. The way Agentic AI is moving forward, we all are feeling overwhelmed. But if you need fundamentals, check this video. All the details are there, labs details are there. You should be able to watch, see this thing into action. Explanation is there. This should give you a solid understanding. Spend your time here, and then maybe next week you would have more workshop to attend to. All right, so we are all on the time frame. We already crossed 3-minute mark, so that's good. Thank you. Hope we answered every question, and let me again thank all the volunteers who are answering questions and all the external volunteers also who are supporting us with the workshop. We appreciate the efforts you are doing. We appreciate the time you are spending to us, and hopefully we would be having a good learning experience for all of you. And for volunteers, we would be doing a new site of badges. So all the volunteers who are helping us, we will be providing them a badge for supporting the efforts of BESA. There was a question about quiz. Quiz, I think Parna, you would be making live in few minutes, and afterwards, so you would have time to complete the quiz. Quiz are not 24-hour bound. They would be available till the end of the whole 6-week workshop, 6-week session. So you could attempt them anytime. We highly recommend you first watch the YouTube video and then only you attempt the quiz because you are here for learning, not just for collecting badges. Badges is the outcome. focus should be on the learning side of the things. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good weekend. We will talk to you next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.